Hi, welcome everybody to the season 1, episode 3 of Download. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing
Better
well.
than
How
I
are you,
deserve.
Chris? Everyone?
Good, good. We have several special guests here, and these are creators. Well, I guess Nick, you can explain better the people that we have, the guests we have, and we have one more coming soon, right?
Yeah, so we have special guests for a special segment we are doing today, where we're gonna start introducing the community to some of the creators in the community. We are talking about sort of two worlds merging here: the world of sort of crypto and blockchain, and the world of creators and art. And I thought it would be good for us to actually talk to some creators and see what they're up to in the world of digital collectibles, and if they've heard of Vitruveo, maybe they have. I don't know what they think of it, etc. So yeah, that's what I want to. That's what they're here for. So they'll jump into the middle of the segment here.
All right, and Nick, you got a presentation for us, right? You're going to start off with a presentation and give us
I
some.
have a presentation, but let's get the important things out of the way first. I have a new purple hat.
That's nice.
This is extremely important. I don't have any of the swag yet, but I feel like I need to earn that swag. So I'll start wearing swag when we actually hit mainnet RC1. Then I'll start wearing swag. Until then,
Look what I got.
You're way ahead. Look at you. Nice.
I even got a shirt. I was going to wear it today, but I have to wear red on Friday, so it's one of those things. So
Why do you have to wear red on Fridays?
oh, it's just a personal thing. It's to remember everyone deployed. It's for all veterans and people that we've lost, and for everyone around the world that's actually deployed anywhere and away from family and all that.
That is a very nice gesture, and I think I will also start wearing a red shirt on Fridays.
I think I will too.
Yeah.
It's just a small thing, just, hey, we don't forget about you guys and girls that are out there around the world away from your families. And we have another creator that just joined us.
Great.
There you go.
Hello.
Oh,
Hey, Hugo, how's it going?
Great.
All right.
How's
So
everyone?
we'll get going with this download. I have so much information to share. So we might go a little over our 2 hours thing here, but I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. There's I'd rather have lots more information to share than less of it. But shall we get going?
Yeah.
Sure thing. Here we go. Here's your presentation, and then I'll pull everybody off so it can be you, Nick, and we'll be back here waiting for you.
Super. All right. Welcome, everyone. It's September 29th. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 3 of the Vitruveo download. I'm super excited to be here today with you and tell you all about this week's activities. My name is Nick Kalyani, and I'm the lead of the Vitruveo project. So let's get going. We have for our agenda today a really packed session. So let's start off with some highlights. We'll go through the council updates, give you a financial update. And then the folks that you saw on there are creators. We're going to do a special segment called Hello Creators. And then I'm going to get you updated on where we are on our phase 1 tasks. So we have 3 phases to mainnet. Phase 1 is the ready phase. And then we have set and go phases. Today, I'm going to give you an update on where we are with phase 1. And then we want to talk about a DAO vote, about getting our DAO going. So all the details around that. There's been some revisions in the cap table based on some new numbers and new information. I'm going to tell you about that. We've had very, very good conversations with validators and backers. And so I got the results of those programs here to share. I want to tell you about a couple of new partners we are working with. There's going to be a ton of those in the future. But we've already got a couple on board, and we want to talk about that. We've added a new benefit for super boosters, so we'll go into details about that. Of course, we wrap it up with a community Q&A, and then, of course, live Q&A, whatever you've got for us. All right, so without further ado, let's just get going. So the council update. So let's start off with the strategy council. So all the planning and much of the preparation for the DAO vote is now complete. I'm going to go into much detail on that a little later in the segment. We've completed all the token research and allocations. So we now have details on the specific wallets and the tokens due and all of that. I'm going to go into a lot of detail around that. Based upon that research, we had to modify the cap table because it turns out that the prior numbers that were given to us were a little bit lower, just a little bit, than what we needed. And so we've modified the cap table a bit. Although I won't go into any details today, I do want you to know that based on the timeline we have, it's very important for us to be talking to centralized exchanges now, so that when we get to the point where we are able to list, that we are ready to go, and because that's important. But of course, all of that hinges on capital availability. And last but not the least, I want to talk about how we've added a validator team to the council. So that's part of the strategy council updates. The operations team in the strategy council has also been very, very busy. They've created the protocol for new hires and added a first couple into the marketing team. Now, keep in mind, this is all prior to sort of the DAO charter, etc., being in place. So this is that interim period where we are operating sort of loosely as a DAO, but not formally as a DAO yet. We've done a comprehensive amount of research on DAO charters, etc. There's a lot of data on that now. So the results of that will be forthcoming in the next 2 to 3 days. We've been working on streamlining our payroll process. It happens on the 15th and the 1st of every month. So we've kind of cleaned that up a little bit and made it a little formalized. And we're now working on specific position descriptions for all the team leads, what their roles and responsibilities are, etc. And finally, the operations team collaborated with the Creator Council to start negotiating with a fairly well-known art influencer and educator to start thinking about our workflow process for onboarding traditional artists onto Vitruveo. Next is the Technology Council. Pleased to report that update 0.5.2 is being prepped for release. That will happen tomorrow. It will have the auto perks feature. So what's auto perks? Auto perks is essentially taking the vault perks so we have a number of tokens sitting in a vault that we call perks. And every time there's a rebase, the ones that have vested are moved over into the pool and are available for anyone to claim. So ordinarily that would require a smart contract, but we don't want to do that. We've built that right into the protocol. Also, tentatively, we hope that in this update, we will have our two baseline, our foundation contracts, which are actually built into the protocol. So there's something special in the protocol called a pre-compiled contract. That is not a normal contract that is deployed by developers. It's included in the protocol and is deployed when the code is run. That's asset-based and creator-based. So those are the two ones. They are fundamentally important, as you've seen in other presentations. Asset-based has all the assets, meaning media. It could be artworks, movies, music, etc. And creator-based is where we have all the KYC creators in the protocol. We've completed the technical requirements for the boosters, and when you look at this deck, you'll be able to see them. But basically, the specific requirements of the DApp for that have been completed. And guess what? Our Explorer is live. So right now, let's go ahead and launch it. There we go. So there is our testnet Explorer running. There's not much activity right now because we are about to flip to the new version. Yeah, but you can see that it's ready to go. So we've one of the things we will be adding to this a little later is the fact that our blocks are custom and have custom properties, unlike the standard blocks on most EVM chains. And so we'll be fixing that up too. But yeah, so the testnet Explorer is up and running. All right, the next is Marketing Council. So last week, Riva was here and she gave you a great presentation on all the stuff that's happening with marketing. And there's much more cool stuff happening. And the big news, the big news is that we have a new brand guide. It is done. It is ready to go. And one of the things that we are pretty emphatic about is that we don't want to be a corporate brand. We want to be a corporate/community brand. We want the community to take our brand and remix it and do exciting things with it. And so what you're seeing here is the ability for the community to create their own magic using what we are calling pattern elements. And for that, we have a folder for you. So let's go look at that. So if you go in here into this folder, let me zoom that in a little bit so it's easier to see. You're going to find a bunch of assets. So let's look at the brand guide first of all. It's really beautiful. I really like what Riva and the team have done here. This is a bit slow to load. I'm not sure what's going on, but let's try it again. Or maybe it's my computer. Let's reload. It's Google Drive. It should be okay. It says working. All right. Well, let's look at the community assets meanwhile. So you can see that there's assets here that you can use in your own, to create whatever you want, like posters, things like that. So these are all ready to go. There's backgrounds, etc. Let's go in thumbnail mode. So you can see there's a bunch of those. There's also patterns and things like that you can use. So I want to go back to this one because I really wanted to look at this. I'm not sure why it's not downloading, but it's a beautiful brand guide. And well, hopefully it works for other people. I'm not sure why it's not working for me, but I wanted to showcase this for you. Oh, well. All right, we'll continue on. But I hope it works for you. If it doesn't, I'm sure Rio will fix it up. We are working on a landing page that's about done, and we'll launch it this weekend. So if you're wondering, like, why not a full-blown website? Well, full-blown website is going to have a ton of content, and we are not yet ready to share that. Oh, here we go. The brand guide finally decides to download. So let's open it up. Here we go. There we go. All right. I wasn't sure why it wasn't loading initially, but you can see the brand guide is complete. It has all the information about what you can and cannot do with our logo, how to use it, and also things like fonts, typography, how to what the primary color systems are. But the part that I like is this here is some treatments about how we want to be really creator friendly, and our designs are built around that. So we've taken the logo and morphed it into various brand elements. And like I said earlier, you are free to use these from this folder here. There's a lot of community elements to create your own works of art. We want you to be creative. We want you to experiment with it and do some exciting things. So I think this is pretty cool. And we want it to be alive. We want it to be vibrant. And we want it to be community centric. So please feel free to experiment with these and do your own thing. So yeah, there's a ton of information there for you to consume. So getting back to the landing page, the website is going to come, but initially we're going to have a landing page which gives basic information about the project. We are working on a much more comprehensive website, but that's going to take a little bit of time, and we didn't want there to be just a coming soon placeholder for longer. We were headed for a bit. We want to get it done now, so the landing page is coming now. New members to the team. We've added a 2D and 3D designer and a social media manager to the team. We are going to amp up our social media. Now, I've seen a few comments around Discord, etc., about, hey, why aren't we sort of doing much more on social media? Well, one of the things we want to do is make sure that if we are targeting creators and if we are targeting people who are interested in sort of art-centric blockchain, etc., we want them to be able to come here and do something. And right now, we don't have all those elements in place. So we want to make sure that there is a good call to action, and that call to action is ready and usable. So that's why we are kind of slow rolling our social media. And by the way, my request to you is would love everyone to look at our Twitter in particular, and like, follow, do all those things to help promote. We are working on finalizing our Instagram strategy, and that's primarily because all the creator community that is not already on Web3 is not on Twitter. They are on Instagram. And so we have to go find them there. And finally, we have settled on using Notion, which is a fairly common thing for most Web3 projects. And so you're going to see a lot of Notion links come out with wiki pages, etc., for us. And we're going to make that sort of where we share informational updates, etc. So Notion is going to be critical to our success. Next, Creator Council. A ton of activity going on there, and you're going to hear more also from Fer and her, a great set of creators who are here. So we've been working on an ambassador program to onboard artists. We want to make it super simple to get artists on here, to make it very welcoming for them. And we are creating a formal program around that. As you know, the boosters are going to include artworks. And so we have 20 artists already ready for that. This weekend, we will close the booster selection process, the booster artwork selection process, and go from there. We are also in the process of having spaces and communicating through tweets, etc., with the Artpack and Nifty Dreams communities, and preparing them to essentially onboard to Vitruveo. We have had several meetings with the team in Brazil that is going to build out Vitru Studio. So those requirements are being finalized. The first portion of requirements was communicated on Thursday. And now on Monday, we'll have another follow-up meeting and complete the requirements. Vitru Studio is our flagship product. It is the most important thing for onboarding artists. That's where a creator will come on and essentially onboard into a Vitruveo. That's where you go through the KYC. And also Vitru Studio is where you consign your artwork to the protocol. You select licenses, you enter your metadata, and all of those kind of things. So Vitru Studio is going to be by far one of the most important applications that will run on our platform. As part of this, we are also getting ready to welcome our artists. And so there's a welcome package there. And Fer is going to talk today about some strategic alliances and exhibition partners that we are bringing up, because we want to do some IRL exhibitions. We are already running weekly educational spaces, and the attendance has been phenomenal on that. The response has been phenomenal. We're going to amp that up as we go. So Creator Council firing on all cylinders, doing amazing things, and you're gonna see much more activity there very, very soon, even beyond the level you're seeing right now. Then we have the Ecosystem Council, which is kind of forming. We have the community team set up now, and we have a formally announced yet, but Ivan's going to be the lead for it. He's at Ivan on Discord. You can find him there. So there is a fair bit of tooling and charter and structure research going on, so that as we transition to this DAO model, we've got all the things in place. So along with Fer, Ivan has been collaborating to get the creator onboarding process set up. We are also working on a community champions program. We want all those members of the community that do interesting things to elevate the community, to help them out and to encourage them. And so community champions is going to do that. And we are also working to bring some of those awesome brand assets you saw into Discord, so we can use them in some of our communications. So finally, the as mentioned earlier, the creator onboarding process is a big deal. Now, the community team has been really hard at work, because per sort of the communication I had in a few prior downloads, we are working on making our Discord super welcoming for creators. And that does mean, having a very friendly and welcoming atmosphere. And we are working on that. So as a result of that, we are being very strict about, people who are disruptive, or essentially who are not contributing to a positive environment within our Discord. So that's going to continue because, again, as I said, our goal is the success of the project, and the project success hinges on creators feeling welcome and loved when they come here. So that's what we're going to do. All right, next up, financial update. So there's been no new spending in this week, but a payroll is coming up in a couple days, so there will be expenses associated with that and all the sort of end of the month bills, etc., that have to be paid. So those updates will be available in next Friday's download. But yeah, as of right now, the funds that we previously got from the multi-sig are still in play, and everyone's bills are being paid with that. All right, now it brings me a lot of pleasure to move on to this next segment called Hello Creators. And for that, I'd like to have Fer come on board here. Hi, Fer, how are you today?
Hello. So happy to be here. As usual, it's a pleasure talking to you, Nick. And I'm super excited to have my artists with us today. So
yeah, so Fer, I want to tell you something before they come on board.
Yes.
You know, one of the things that we want to do is sort of make Vitruveo have this model of like the Spotify for artworks, you know, where we stream. And I see that you've got artwork streaming behind you. I love them. I also got artwork streaming, and these are from the current art packs. So they're live. They look great, and actually working on implementing a QR code feature also, so that as they're there, if someone's watching a stream, they can QR code, scan it, and go find out more about the artist, etc. So I'm really excited about that vision. I cannot tell you how long I have wanted to be able to stream some of these artworks directly, but it's pretty exciting. All right, over to you then. Let's get going.
Thanks. Oh my God. Like I have to say I'm jealous because like I need a bigger screen now, and I need your app to have the right way to display them, because you know, like I toss them in a folder, and that's not the best way to do it. But that's also another solution that we are bringing, because we need to be able to stream. Both of us are collectors, and we have a very nice showcase to get the world to see. So excited for that.
I think we can arrange it for. I think we can arrange for you to have a bigger screen and the app.
Oh, I like that. Thanks, Nick. I think we can invite our artists already. So should I bring one at a time, or do you want them all together? We have 4 guests. Let me see who is. Can we bring, let's say, Leslie first, maybe?
Yeah.
Yes, there we go. Hi, Leslie. How are you today? You have to unmute yourself. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Oh. Super excited to have you.
Well, how are you both?
So good. First, I want to tell everyone, because you're all going to start getting involved into what is the creative industry and how we connect with each other. Both Leslie and I, we won each other's one-of-one bids yesterday. So we won each other's auction, and today we're shopping with each other's money. So look how great. And I love that. So just wanted to share, this is a fun part of our lives. So we sell art, we buy art.
That's right. And I still have to start buying today. I've only bought one so far, which is really unlike me.
Oh, that's great. We got all the weekend to shop. So first of all, I'd like to get started with, a quick introduction. How about you tell us about yourself, and, how long have you been an artist for?
Yeah, so I actually started in photography back in, I guess, 35 years ago. So in the 80s, 1980s. So I'm old. I've been around for quite a while, but I've been doing it off and on. I started with travel photography, and then worked my way into documentary, and then shot weddings and photojournalism, storm chasing, and creative portraits. So I do a variety of different things.
Yes, Leslie is one of the most, diverse photographer I know, with amazing quality in each direction. It's amazing. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
So now, as to NFTs, why did you start on NFTs? What motivated you to get into it?
I was on Twitter, but I was using it just for news. So I really wasn't posting or anything like that. And I did follow storm chasers because I was one. So they always posted on there. And I saw first one of the storm chasers, and then a couple of them start posting about NFTs. And so I thought, what on earth is this? When I looked into it, it was all PFPs and stuff like that. So I was totally confused. But then I saw more and more of that going on in my timeline. And so I realized, that there was quite an opportunity here and that I needed to be part of it. So I wasn't working for clients anymore. I was working for myself, and it was a great time to, get into the art market, so to speak.
I love it. I love it. And, the market has changed a lot. So my question for you now is, why are you still here?
For several reasons. Of course, as everybody says, we're still here for the community. Second, I believe in what we are doing in this space. I think there's a bright future ahead, especially with things like Vitruveo, and stuff like that. And I also am staying as well because I'm a big humanitarian. So I'm staying because I've seen the power of what we can do as a community. With different social causes, like for instance, Iran, the earthquakes, the flooding and stuff like that, the war. So I will always stay for that reason, because I feel like for once there's a way that we can actually make a real difference in people's lives that way.
I love it, Leslie. And, I'm in for very similar reasons. So I really appreciate you. Nick, do you have any questions for Leslie?
No, I mean, Leslie is a stalwart in the community. She's always there supporting people. And I'm so looking forward to having your presence on Vitruveo, because you make it so welcoming for everybody, and you're so helpful. So thank you, Leslie, for your community spirit and for all the hard work you do. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm super excited to always be part of anything you and Fur are doing. So I may not understand it all, but I'm on board.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you. I think we can bring Hugo now, and then we can go through the four artists, and then wrap up with some final comments.
Thanks, Leslie.
Thank you. Okay, now it's the right people. Sorry. Dr. Martin, you have to unmute yourself. It was meant to be Hugo first, but you go first, as it's just as good.
Okay, I am not Hugo, I am Martin.
Martin, Dr. Martin. Sorry, I keep, I moved to the States and my English goes right into American, but so happy to have you. So first of all, give us a quick introduction.
Okay, I am Dr. Martin Raskowski. I am a photographer. I have been a photographer since I was 9 years old. That is back in 1959. So you make the calculations. I won't say my age. It was at that age, 9 years old, that I built a dark room in the bathroom of my parents' home. And I am self-taught. I never studied arts or photography. I grew up as a software engineer. In photography, I have always been attracted to do post-processing manipulation. Ever since I was doing black and white enlargement, I always found that the light that comes out of the camera does not quite match the emotions that I had at the moment of shooting. So I always embark in a process of transformation, which originally was done analogically, and these days is done digitally with a much wider tool desk.
I love it. So why did you get into NFTs? How did you get started with
it?
NFTs?
It was a natural progression from analog photography to digital photography, and within the world of digital, NFTs came along. I just found them by casually in social media. What is that? I saw the association with new technologies. I have a background in software, so it was natural for me to get involved. That was 2 years and a half ago when I got involved.
That's fantastic. And you are one of the people who have given me the best feedback on what we're building. So I'd love to hear why you're excited about Vitruveo.
Well, I think that there is a big absentee in the way that artists work. What does an artist do apart from the creative element? It goes out to try to attract an audience. You do that in the real world. If you are going to an art fair or an exhibition, you try to bring with you your audience. And these days, you connect with your audience via social media. Social media occupies a long chunk of everyday's life for an artist. You create for maybe, I don't know, a quarter of the day, and the rest of the day you are in social media. That's wrong. That's a wrong proportion. And artists are not trained to promote their work. Artists are trained to do their art, and that's what they want to do. I think that there is a wrong direction. Artists are attracted to social media in order to find collectors. That direction from artists to social media to collector, I think is wrong. It should be the other way around. It should be collectors that search for artists. And that is the absentee. Search is not there. You don't have, you have to go to a market, and there are weak search tools, but you don't have. I mean, you go to Amazon and you do a search and you find immediately what you want. You are not publishing in Twitter, I want to buy a pair of boots, or who has boots for me to buy. No, you go to one particular place, you make a search, and in no time you found what you want. Art is not quite the same as boots. Yes, it's not going to be quite the same searching. But that's one of the first things that I saw in Vitruveo, the possibility to have, at the right level of abstraction, search implemented with a whole set of metadata, with what do you call the name escapes. Yes. The rules that say how we have to define the metadata. Mm-hmm. That was the main bit that attracted me with Vitruveo. Being able to see a solution to what I think is the major problem for artists. There are other problems, and there are other problems that Vitruveo are solving as well, but I'm not expanding on those now.
Thank you so much. Yes, and I always enjoy having conversations with you, because whenever we bring something, you always have the right questions, and we hope that we're addressing all of those problems that you and all our community have been pointing out. So thank you so much, Dr. Martin. And
thank you for having me.
Nick, did you want to?
No, I just wanted to say that you just zoomed right into the heart of the matter. The fact that we are doing protocol level metadata for assets, and instead of having them distributed among silos of marketplaces, etc., we are providing the flexibility for the artists to have them distributed in multiple marketplaces, but have the origin be at the protocol level with very granular metadata that is, and the whole point of it is, it is very searchable. I want all the search engines out there. I want AI, etc., to be able to find these artworks very, very easily. And so grateful for that feedback. But you've nailed it. Like, this is exactly why we are doing this. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, like, our next artist. So it can be Twinkle or Hugo. Let's see who comes up. Twinkle.
Hello everyone. Hi Nick, hi Per. It's great. I'm enjoying all the talks and loving all the conversations here.
Nice. Yeah, you see your art here. I got, for those who haven't paid attention, I have a selection of artwork, while Nick has the art packs, the full collection of art packs. I have the today's guests' artworks, showing on my screen. So super happy to have you here today. And how about give us a quick introduction, who you are?
Yeah, so hello everyone. I am Twinkle. I go by the nickname the High Priestess and her lion. And my artworks are explorations of mental health with what I call a generous sprinkle of spirituality, because all the mental health issues, all the things that I discover in myself come through meditation. So all the artworks are the visions that I see in my meditations. So that's what my artworks are all about. And I do photography, I do photo manipulation, I do a lot of things. I use Procreate also for drawing. So I just try to do a lot of things because that's I think that when a vision comes to me, it's not just one thing that fits in that thing. I can try a different multiple things to see how it works. So that's what I do.
Nice.
And yeah.
No, didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, go ahead and let us know how you got into NFTs and what motivated you to get into it.
I got into NFTs in October. I minted my first NFT on 1st October 2021. So 2 years ago. It's gonna be 2 year anniversary in just a couple of days now. So that's exciting. But yeah, I got into NFTs at 2 years ago, and I started doing art a little earlier. I'm a relatively new artist, so I haven't been doing this kind of art before. But during COVID, it just happened that I started meditations, and then it just kind of worked out how it is right now. But it wasn't always that I've been doing this kind of art. So during the COVID, I got into NFTs because I was trying to see how far I can go with my artworks and what else I can do with it.
That's awesome. And what do you think of Vitruveo? Like, what is your first impression from what you heard from us?
Oh, Vitruveo. I would start with, like, when I see my artworks behind you for it just feels incredible. It feels so good, and as an artist, and that's why we are here, right? To put more eyesights on our work, to get it out to the world. And having an entire blockchain for creators and putting more and more eyes on it, it just feels out of the world. Like, we feel seen, we feel heard, and we feel that someone is there for us. And like, I won't go into the technicalities because Dr. Martin already went through those. So but it just feels incredible when someone thinks of you, and someone makes an entire blockchain, and everybody's working toward the same goal. And I think Vitruveo is a great start, but I think it is just a start, and it's gonna go like what it is starting. It's just gonna blow up, and it's gonna be a great platform for artists. And it's not just artists, creators. So it's gonna it's gonna expand laterally. So it's incredible to be a part of this. So thank you, Nick, and for what you're doing. I can see how much efforts you're putting in. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Nick, do you have any comments?
Yeah. So Twinkle, I wanted to ask you about two things. One is, you and I have talked about your collaboration with South Korean galleries, and we're going to do some projects there with the Vitruveo artists also. So
Yes.
you are headed to South Korea soon, if I understand correctly?
Yes, in mid-November, probably. Yeah,
Okay.
mostly in mid-November.
Yeah. And also, one of the things that we don't realize as we talk to artists is, like, yes, you got the art, but also a lot of artists have other skill sets too. And you have a business. Tell me about your business.
Yeah, so I'm an architect. I have my own firm since 2008, and it started as a proprietorship firm, but now it has grown into a partnership firm, and it's sort of a self-running business as of now. So I get a little time to do my artwork, but it's running well. So we do a lot of different kinds of projects, right from plotting, townships, architecture, interior, landscape, and all of those kinds. Like, we do everything.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. So, the reason I even brought that point up is because the business aspect of art is very important to artists. All the ones who are in this ecosystem, they are not just there to, like, here, just look at my art and promote me, etc. It is about making a livelihood, and creating a sustainable income stream, and that's our focus also. We want to put in all the foundational elements so that artists can thrive and get to this goal of having a sustainable income. So thank you. So I'm excited to be collaborating with you in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the first things that I learned as a business person, by having my own business, is that do not put all your eggs in one basket. So it is the same everywhere. It applies everywhere. So as an artist also, like we just don't go into spaces and just talk about art. There are so many other things to do, and Vitruveo gives those kinds of opportunities as well. So that's one more great point that I just wanted to add.
Thanks. And there's your artwork right there on cue.
Yes, that's my profile.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Twinkle. And I guess we can have Hugo now and wrap
Thank
up. Oops, sorry. Hey. Hi, Hugo. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you? Nice to see you again, Ted.
Nice to
Nice
see
to see you, Nick.
There you go.
Hi.
Just wanted to first, before we get started, let everyone know that I met Hugo in New York same day that I actually met Leslie in one of the NFT parties, and it was a great evening. And afterwards, I went to São Paulo and I met with Hugo again, and we have been talking about doing a partnership in forever. So we developed a very cool alliance, and I'm excited that you'll share about that in a minute. But first of all, introduce yourself. Let us know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, sure, of course. Thanks. Yeah, it was such a nice meeting. Yeah, and very timely too. We've been in this space for about 3 years now, I think, you and I almost. And there's always like so much going on, and everything is changing so fast. But sometimes things just like fall into place together and fit perfectly. And I think the Vitruveo launch is gonna be really important for what we're experiencing right now as a movement and as a community of artists in Web3. So yeah, I'm glad to have been invited to be a part of this. Thank you. So I'm Hugo Fass. I'm a performance artist. I've been making performance art for 12 years now, and I come from a corporate background before that, so it was quite a big change. But I always had like my part of me was always in the arts, and I had to face like the corporate world and the trading world before I could like realize what was my path as an artist. And coming from Brazil, and also coming from the queer community in Brazil, I'm also very much in touch with artists who are doing art not for just for sustaining themselves or for entertaining purposes, but people who really have art in their souls and are doing this because they need to create and to communicate their own identity and selves to survive. So this is the community of artists where I come from. And as soon as I find out about the NFT movement and the NFT space, the digital art movement, I see that there's like this huge opportunity for artists who have been marginalized all their life because they don't have access to the traditional art markets to suddenly have a chance to access an entire global market for their work. Of course, there are many like barriers to inclusion in this space. There's language barriers and technological access barriers and stuff. So as soon as I find out about everything NFTs, this is what I set myself to do. Like I have to have it. It's not just about me putting my work out there to be purchased, but I know so many artists who have a mission with their art, and I want them to be able to like spread their artwork to the world, not just in terms of like getting money, but really to be able to globalize art sharing and art appreciating as well. So this is what I've been doing. I've been trying and experimenting a lot of stuff since I started. And finally, I've been for most part of the past 2 years, I've been building an actual like museum, a physical museum for decentralized art. It started as a small incubator project for Brazilian artists, and then it expanded to all non-English speaking artists of the world and trying to reach these people and onboard them. But finally, the dreams are realizing themselves, and I was able to start this physical space, which was I was happy to have her visit and get to know it. And next month in October, we're going to do the grand opening with an exhibition. And I'm just going to be like very glad to keep this partnership with Vitruveo as well for having a physical home, which I think is so important for digital art to become palpable, to become like consumable in a more natural way for people who are not used to seeing digital art and feeling like getting to know the real value behind it, getting to be able to see the value of the work of art itself, and not just as an image that is shareable on a phone here and there. And so to be able to attribute value to the work. So that's my mission right now in the space.
I love it. I'm so excited for launch.
I have, let me see if I can show a little bit of a photo. I don't know if it's going to show right, but this is one of the photos of the space that we've shared recently. So the idea is really that we can exhibit artworks just as they should, and really get people like not really knowing, is this an actual like print? Is this a painting? Is this a digital? How is this possible? So the idea is to bring awe, and surprise, but at the same time familiarity for people who are also like not degens or super used to digital art like we are,
You have the real bridge, which is what we're looking into creating here, like the bridge to the traditional industry who has a hard time to understand that digital art is a consumable piece of art. So you're doing amazing, and I have to say the place is absolutely fantastic. The framed screens is just like a completely fascinating way to display art, and it really shows like it's palpable, as you said. So I love it. Thank you so much, Hugo.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Hugo, this is the first time we are talking. So it's a pleasure to meet you. First, told me all about the incredible space you're creating there, and I want to visit sooner rather than later and check it out myself. What you're doing is sort of manifesting one of the elements of our growth strategy. What we want to do is have at major cities around the world sort of these Vitruveo. We haven't come up with a good name for it yet, but let's, for the purpose of our discussion, call it a hub, where galleries are sort of passive things. You go, you walk through, and etc. But we want to create an active, vibrant space for artists to come, where they can take a workshop, they can talk art with people, they can see, learn about the technology, etc., and get onboarded, at the same time. So we don't want it to be like a salesy experience, but we want it to be like a welcoming experience. So you feel like, I want to be part of this. I really want, and then you go bring some friends and you say, you need to be part of this. That's how we are going to grow to hundreds of thousands of creators on this platform, and even hopefully millions very soon. So, but it starts with one person, just like you, who has a dream and who creates a space, and then we team up and we get the community going, and all of a sudden, we've got these flowers all over the world that are sprouting and creating a lot of positivity.
That's the idea. Yeah, the magic about working with digital art and digital content, is that you can expand like almost like infinitely. You can do so much with a space that isn't even like super huge and big, but if you do it right, and if you can like get people enamored with the idea and with the possibilities and concept, and I think like the presence is super important for that. So that's why I invested so much of my time and money on this space, because I think it's magical. It's different when you bring people in to see it in person and almost like be able to touch it. So it makes a world of difference, and I'm glad to be starting this. I hope more places and spaces and people around the world can follow this kind of example.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Hugo.
Thank you.
Okay, Nick, that wraps up the individual interviews, and I'd like to see if you have any final remarks that you want to talk about the creators.
The creators are awesome, and I think what we want to do is probably every other download bring a few, because there's so many different genres of art. And one thing, I don't think everyone gathered, we just went around the world here. So we had Leslie from the United States, we had Dr. Martin from Argentina, we had Twinkle from India, and then Hugo from Brazil. So that was kind of cool. This is what we'll see as we bring creators from all over the globe on here, that this is a worldwide phenomenon, and Vitruveo is not going to be just like a US thing. It is starting off as a worldwide thing, and it is going to be global, and it's going to grow globally.
Yes, I'm super excited about that. And just as a teaser, all those artists are in the booster program. So just so you know, like we have some amazing, amazing artists. And a reminder as well that I'm closing the applications for the boosters for the Vitruveo community specifically. We have an application in the Discord, and I got very few entries. So you guys mentioned, I think last week, asking about, competition, if it was hard to get in, and I want to make sure that I get Vitruveo people. I have 2 artists from Vitruveo, so I am saving a few spots, and I'm closing this weekend. So please sign up if you're a creator in Vitruveo already. And all the other ones, like we already have 20, so excited about that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for, you said you had about 20 artists and your goal was 25, yeah?
Yes.
All right,
I would like to have 5 from Vitruveo creators. So waiting for them.
And just to remind everyone, the booster artworks are going to be augmented reality enabled. So that's a nice, cool innovation. Yeah.
Very cool.
Great.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you so much. All right, continuing with my presentation. So if you could kindly share my deck again, great. All right, it's time now to transition into the rest of the download updates. It's a ton of information here, folks. So I had last week presented this view of launch phases and all the tasks around them. So we are currently focused on phase 1. So what I've done is I've updated that to show you where we are. So the green check marks indicate something that's done. The play indicator means something we are working on. And the pause indicator means something we have not yet started, but we'll be starting up soon. So you can see here, I've used our little mobile red dot indicators to show you the new changes since last week. And you can see it, there's a lot more green check marks here. We are going through at warp speed, to borrow a Star Trek term, to get all of these tasks done. There's a huge amount of work, and just everyone on the team is working crazy hours to get stuff done. And we are on track. Everything is on track and coming together really well. What I wanted to do here is highlight a few things. So starting with the testnet column. So one of the important things for us to get to the DAO vote is to have all the token allocations, etc., available for everyone to look at, to maybe find if there's any errors or any oversights, etc., and fix them. So we do have that document there. I'd initially intended to create a repo, but then I realized that most of the people consuming this are probably not going to be able to look at it very easily as like JSON files. So we put a Google Doc initially, but we will still have a repo because ultimately that's going to be code that gets in there. But we are starting off with a doc, and once we have the repo, I'll probably put repo plus doc there. But we've started off with a doc today, so you'll be able to look at that, and I'm going to show you that also. Also, we talked about the Explorer and Auto Perks. Yeah, so that's the Explorer is already up. Auto Perks will be in the next testnet update that will happen this weekend. Been doing a lot of work on the legal front here. So the operating agreement is now done, and later on in this session, I'm going to talk more about that in a little more detail. We are working heavily on the governance charter of the DAO right now, so that's taking up a fair bit of activity. Moving on to mainnet RC1 activities there. So the booster contract requirements are done, as you saw earlier. The booster artworks are in progress as for updated. The Poet application, which we do want to have running on RC1, is almost ready. So the pink dots mean that it's almost ready to transition to the next state. Yeah, so the DevOps on the mainnet nodes is not going to take too much time, but we do want to make sure that we take care of other priorities first before we get to that. So that'll be done. Website, landing page this weekend. White paper and investor deck are both in progress. Expect the white paper to, at least one version of the white paper, the first version, to be available as early as Monday. and same with the investor deck, probably Monday or Tuesday, the first version of it. Revised cap table, you're going to see shortly. The allocations are already done, and that's factored in here. So let's just start looking at some of these stuff in more detail. But this is a high-level overview. When all of these go green, what it means is that we've launched mainnet, we've got a booster sale going on, and all of you have a Nexus NFT, which tells you what your holdings are, what your vesting schedule is, what your governance rules are, etc. So that's this slide. When we get through it completely, it means we are there now. We are live and looking to a very, 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 very great and successful future. Okay, let's talk about the DAO vote. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the community members have had a chance to look at everything before we turn on mainnet RC1. So there are four main elements to that. The first one is a letter drafted by our counsel, Jamelia Greer, on the need for and what sort of the purpose of the DAO and its entities are. So we've got that. The second item is the Genesis allocation. I've heard time and again, and I wanted to be sure I deliver on this, that everyone has a chance to look at all the data around the wallets and the token allocations before we activate those allocations on mainnet. So you're going to see all of that. The third thing is the DAO and the Corp operating agreement. So we are working on incorporating in Dubai, and we want to make sure that there is a clear sort of agreement between the DAO and the Corp on how it'll work together. I'm going to touch on that in just a moment, but the fourth thing is the DAO governing charter. So what we want to do is give you a chance to look at all these documents and then give us some feedback if there's any changes, etc. So we have a little bit of time for that. And then we essentially go to a vote. And the vote then determines if we move forward with the information as presented, or if the vote is a no, then that means we essentially get set back a bit. And I'll talk about that also. So getting back to the DAO Corp operating agreement, I want everyone to really understand the nature of this, because it's very easy. I see this all the time in Discord, is someone posits something which is generally coming from a place of not having facts, and then people treat that as facts, and then all of a sudden it balloons into something. So the reason we need to have a corp entity, that's the first question, is because in the real world, businesses have to enter into contractual agreements. And the laws of pretty much every country currently do not recognize a DAO as an entity that can enter into a contractual agreement. What is a contractual agreement? Well, it could be as simple as getting a bank account, or it could be getting a lease for some space, like we talked about gallery space, etc. Well, if you don't have a corporate entity, you can't enter those corporate agreements. Those contracts. So essentially, the purpose of our corporate entity is going to be at the beck and call of the DAO and do what the DAO says. So think of the DAO as a puppet master, if you will, for the corp entity, and the DAO says, go enter into this agreement, and the corp does that. So this is the main reason for it. Now, as a corporate entity, what's going to happen is that it's going to have the standard corporate stuff. It's going to have some shares, etc. But they are really there because that's how corporate entities work. The equity, etc., in this corporation has no value, no tangible value. So what we are planning right now is that corporation will have basically two signatories. There's myself and one member that we'll elect from the community. So you're going to elect one other person, and that becomes sort of the corp entity signers. And again, like I said, the entity basically won't do anything unless the DAO tells it, go do this, and it'll do that. So it's really just a formality. but it's important to have. The other reason to have it is because when we do things like booster sales, etc., what we want to do is ensure that the leadership is protected. So there's me primarily, and there's others also, etc. So I don't want to be personally liable for this. We then need to have a corporate entity that's liable for those things, and that's the reason for it. So agreements, contracts, basically, and liabilities. Those are the two primary things. There's a third thing also, but it's more of a soft area, which is credibility. When you go to, let's say, a major gallery or a museum or whatever, they want to see a company. They want to see the familiar titles that they have. They want to know that this is an entity that exists, an organization that exists. And so we want to have that also. So all of those things together. So now what we have here is a folder. And in this folder, we're going to put some documents for you to start reviewing. But before we go there, I want to tell you about the schedule for this. So first of all, you're going to see a lot of references to NDAO here. One of the things I've been talking a lot to people about is what kind of DAO we want to be. There are DAOs that are extreme DAOs where everything is done with proposals, etc. Let me tell you, that is a disaster for us. It's not going to work because, first of all, the types of people that we are catering to, like creators, etc., they are barely crypto native. They are barely crypto, not crypto native. And so what we want to do is sort of have a pathway to a full-fledged DAO. And so I consider this a nascent DAO. We are learning and figuring out how to do it. And so that's the NDAO. Also, the N stands for like a new renaissance. And also NDAO, when pronounced as NDAO, is we are endowing the world with art. So you're going to see a lot of references to NDAO from a marketing standpoint. And that's how we're going to position ourselves versus just being a full-fledged crypto native DAO. That's not us. It's not going to work. It'll fail miserably. All right, let's look at the DAO vote plan here. So starting this Tuesday, all the documents that you need to have available will be there for all the documents you need to review will be available. That doesn't mean they'll only be available then. We're actually starting today. The first document is already there, and more will be added over the weekend. But the idea is that you have a chance to review some of these and give us your comments and feedback by 11:59 p.m. EST on the 5th. So Chris and the other YouTubers there, I had it in PST and I changed it to the real time zone to EST there. So there we go. Comments and feedback. So that's a couple days for you to look it over and, see anything you want to give some feedback, you see some problems, we can talk about it and change it. Then on the 6th at 1 p.m. EST, Friday, the voting begins. And then the voting goes on for through the weekend and through Monday and ends on Tuesday at 1 p.m. And then on that same Tuesday, the 10th, after an hour, we will announce the votes. So what does that mean in terms of voting? Well, if the vote is yes, then we proceed with the current plan for mainnet RC1 and booster sale for October. This saying yes basically means that in the month of October, you're going to have a mainnet blockchain and you're going to have a booster sale. That's basically what it means. Saying no means that more discussion is needed, more review is needed, and this means that we will not be able to make mainnet or the booster sale. It also means that we are on very, very thin ice at that point, because without the booster sale, we won't be able to have any capital to sustain ourselves. So we might be able to go for a little bit longer, maybe mid-November or so, but that's going to be it. So again, none of the information, etc., that you're going to see should be a huge surprise. We are trying to keep the DAO governance to be focused mainly in the area of treasury, like financial controls. So there are good financial controls for how money is spent, because that's where this has all originated, with bad management practices around that. So we'll have good management practices around the treasury. It also will be around the DAO roles. Who, what is the process for getting someone in a role? What will their stipend be? And so on and so forth. all those things, how people get elected, for example, and then also anything related to the protocol. So one of the primary functions of the DAO is to determine the direction of the protocol. So if we decide, oh, well, we're going to change this feature in the protocol, it's got to come from the DAO and people are going to vote on it. That's basically all that's all about. But really, what you're seeing here in this vote is a culmination of a lot of the work that has been put into it. And finally, an opportunity to look at real data, look at the real numbers, etc., and say, yep, I agree with this, or I don't agree with this. That's going to be your choice to it. We're going to have a simple majority here. We're not looking for a super majority or anything like that, because generally, we don't even know most of the people who are eligible to vote. We have just a wallet address, and hopefully they are in Discord so we can find them. But yeah, they would be voting, and we'll have a simple majority vote. Okay, now let's look at the cap table. So, and I'm going to go back to that Genesis document also. But before I do that, I want to look at this. So in the Genesis document, we got the final details on how many tokens are owed to everybody, etc. And it turns out that the number previously reported was significantly lower. So what we've had to do is bump up this number. So you see this number here, it's gone up. And as a result, we also had to bump up the number here. So instead of starting at 50 million, we're going to start at 60 million. A bulk of those is just tokens for investors. That's the gap that's been filled. But also wanted to make this booster program really, really attractive for people. And so there's also been additions here in the booster area. So that's basically the main chain. Now let's go look at what we found out in the tokens, right? So let me go into this folder here. And like I said, there's one document here right now, but there's going to be 3 more, possibly 4 documents that come in here. So let's look at the Genesis allocation. So this starts off with, it's a tabbed worksheet, and it starts off with the Vitru cap table. That's the first thing you see here. This is what I was showing you. But here are the details now of all the research that we've done. I'm going to zoom this in a bit more. Let's see. I'm not trying to open insert menu. I'm trying to zoom in. Here we go. Let's do it from here. Okay. So what you're seeing here is wallet addresses and the token amounts due to them. And here is the methodology that was used. So for the rebasing, there's 191K percentage from 21 November to 21st Jan, and then 55% from 1st July to 21st July. So then we basically use those numbers to calculate the tokens. I did a quick holder distribution, and you can see here how basically the largest pool over, let's see, at least 11,000 of the 17 odd thousand holders are below 500 tokens. And then as we get higher here, you can see that the distribution is much sparser. So this is the makeup of the token holders right now. And this data is available to you. And as I showed here, between now and next Tuesday, wait, was it Tuesday? I just want to make sure I get the right. Between now and next Thursday, rather, we want to make sure that you have had a chance to look and communicate any problems that you see. But this is what we've got going. Now, we have other tabs here. We've got the validators tab, and we've got, they should have the same amount of Vitrus that have been rebasing, and so there's a total of Vitru there. So we've got all the wallet addresses here, and then we've got the wallet addresses for the backers. So same deal, all the wallet addresses there, whatever the tokens are. The formula is all the same. And then finally, something that I know a lot of people have been waiting for, but I couldn't get my hands on the data, but I finally have that data now, is we got the details for what was UXI, which is now going to be Vitro, the tokens due. Now, one of the things that we want to do is start this off with the right tokenomics. So if you go with just the base tokens, you come up with a number of 278,000. So what we're going to do when we do launch the DAX is we're going to put a multiplier on these. So they're all effectively going to be multiplied by 28.731. that doesn't mean that the price is going to be multiplied by 28.71. We'll figure out the price as we come based upon liquidity. But what we want to do is basically have these tokens look reasonable from a tokenomic standpoint. So the cap table looks something like this. So basically, it's an 80-20 split here on the cap table. Let me zoom in a little bit. The investors basically get 80%. And then what we want to do is make the deal a little smoother for sweeter rather for super boosters. So there's an incentive there of 10% of the Vitro tokens that will be available to super boosters pro rata. And finally, there is an allocation for the DAO to be able to essentially distribute, for marketing purposes and also to distribute as the DAO sees fit. So those are all the numbers. So these are available for you to peruse. I'm still working with the Discord team, but I think what we'll end up doing is just have you open a support ticket if you have a problem, and let us know, and we'll then if there's any changes made, what I'll do is I'll publish here and also publish a note via an announcement in Discord that something's changed. But you can always go and look at the document history, to see if any changes have been made, and don't plan on making any changes, at least unless they are communicated with. So we would potentially make changes until this time, until voting opens. We want to make sure that everyone has a chance to give any feedback or if there's any problems, etc. But you're going to see in public if there are any changes made to these documents. One more thing. This is just a Google spreadsheet, right? Like, how can you trust that these numbers are going to end up sort of in the protocol? Well, the protocol is going to be architected, and this is something I'll cover in next week's download. The Nexus NFT, the way it's being architected, the smart contract around it, these allocations that you have are not going to be initially in your wallet because there is a vesting schedule, right? So if at Genesis these tokens are put directly into your wallet, there is no vesting, there is no lock period or anything like that. So that won't work. So that's why you have the Nexus NFT. It's a very specific NFT that gives you the right to go and claim whatever tokens are vested, claim from the incentive pool, etc. So what you're going to see is actually contracts. So you're going to see in smart contracts your wallet addresses and the associated tokens owed, the vesting schedule, etc. Obviously, we don't expect people to be looking at it as developers at the contract level. We're going to have a nice dashboard for you. But the people who are developers and who do know how to look at the data will be able to go look at the contracts and verify that, in fact, this data matches exactly the contract data. And so our approach is going to be, we're going to stand up 2 validators. We're going to deploy all the smart contracts with all this data on here. We're going to give the community a period of time to validate that. So you can go look and see that, okay, it was promised that, this wallet had 81,708.34 Vitrus. Is that verifiable in the contract? It should be. It should be easy to verify. So you look at those 2 validators, and when the community feels it's comfortable, and we'll do a vote again, right? We'll do a vote and say, yep, this is good. That's when we start adding other validators. That's the first point at which we will ask one of the validators to come in and sign and get on board. So there is this very delicate but very structured process to ensure that all the data is accurate and has been seen by everyone and is totally transparent and verified by everyone. And there are multiple checkpoints where people can step in and say, wait, I see a problem here. We want to be very, very thorough, down to like the last decimal point here on these things. and make sure things are very, very accurate. So we start off with showing you this information, giving you a week or so to look at it. Then we as we get through sort of this activation process of the validators for mainnet RC1, we will not invite or enable a third validator until we've voted on the two. I'll just be upfront and say that in anticipation, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, in anticipation of a yes vote, we did start the paperwork for DAO that involves filling out form, etc. It doesn't mean we've actually done anything. And the reason for that is purely about timing. We cannot wait until the last moment and file all the paperwork, etc., because then we'll miss all the window of time, and it'll be like mid-November or so before we can get the booster sale going, etc. So the interest of time, we've got things in parallel, but we won't commit to anything until the vote is done. So I don't want you to feel like, what's the vote for if you already started the DAO? Well, we've just started the application process because that is time consuming. You have to get all the documents ready and things like that. So just want to be clear on that so that it doesn't become an issue with anyone. All right. So now continuing with this, the next thing I have is the validators. So as I mentioned at the top of the hour here, we now have a validators team activated in the strategy council. So I want to congratulate Baron Master, Eso, and Cappy, who are going to be the members of that validators team, with Baron Master taking on the lead. I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to meet with Baron a couple times one-on-one, where we negotiated different things, etc. And I think it's great. I, in particular, am very excited about the validators team because as being part of the strategy council, they have direct visibility into what's happening across the whole DAO. But as a team, they can govern themselves. They can figure out sort of what changes are needed, or what support is needed, or what capital might be needed to maybe provide extra support or whatever. And this validators team is gonna be responsible for that. So it's not gonna be me or someone telling validators what to do. Validators as a group are the most important thing for this blockchain. And I will, as the leader of this project, I will do what I have to make sure that your needs are addressed and met. And speaking of that, the validator incentive program has been finalized. So as part of that, we are going to increase the gas fees to 4 Gwei. So it was 1 previously. So this gives a larger margin of transaction income to validators. Actually, this is a typo here. I'm sorry. This should say 2,750,000. I just realized there's a typo there. And then the next thing is we have agreed to split the asset consignment licensing sales revenue 50-50 between the DAO and the validators. So as assets are sold and licensed through the asset consignment program on chain, the revenue will be split. It will basically go to the DAO and to the validators in separate pools. We also agreed that node transfers are going to be permitted on a case-by-case basis. In particular, we are very interested in having people who are no longer interested in running a node to transition them over to professional node operators, because the stability of a blockchain is important. And there are lots of organizations that operate nodes professionally. And so, in fact, I was having a conversation with Bob about that, and he's agreed to help us bring some of those on board. So I'm looking forward to that. One thing, pay is for performance, and performance for validator means being active and validating transactions. So we also have a pathway to getting to starting off a little slow, but getting to a 98% sort of SLA, where you only get your perks and your revenue if you are at least at 98% transactional handling capacity as the average of other validators. So it'll be performance driven. All right. The next thing is backers. Now this has been a bit complicated because we no longer actually have a service that the backers will run. So it's really based upon, well, how do you solve what the intent was of the backers with a good solution? So I've come up with a plan that I'd like to present here that I feel would be good. So first of all, the tokens that the backers had purchased as part of their sort of light node initiative would have been locked. What I'm proposing is that they'll be unlocked now and treated as standard investor tokens. So they are available to you. Previously, only the rebases would have been available. Additionally, within the perks pool, there's going to be 250,000 perks available as recurring income. So those are two sort of direct benefits to the backers. There's a third benefit where we would give 0.5% of the DAO share of the aggregate sales revenue and divide it pro rata, but only to the backers who also hold a booster NFT. So we feel like this is a good trade-off. So the backers who do want income beyond the perks and beyond the tokens, who want it for a longer period of time, they can essentially opt into it by supporting the protocol now when it needs it the most by purchasing a booster. So if you have a booster, you get in for that 0.5% of it. So that's the deal for backers. I have not had a chance to present this in Discord yet. So this is the first time they're seeing it. So I apologize. This is a last minute kind of thing. But I think this is a very fair way to handle this. And it gives you essentially a transition path where you have what you thought you were buying and also balances the needs of the protocol and the DAO. All right, moving on. Wanted to talk about two partners we're working with. So one is Synapse. So we are going to do creator and KYC at scale. So Synapse is actually an investor in my other startup. And as such, we've got a very good pricing deal with them, where it will be in the low single-digit dollars for doing KYC with an API. And it's going to be a good partnership because they are also moving to verifiable credentials. And we are, through our creator base, going to support the W3C creator, verifiable credentials standard. And so it comes very nicely to have a partner who's going to do the KYC for us. In another presentation, I talked about the 5 levels of KYC we're going to have. So we have email, mobile, one called liveness, which are you a bot or a human being? Then there's the address. And then finally, there is identification verification. So the way we are thinking about KYC on our protocol is we provide the mechanism for creators to get the KYC done, but we allow dapps to dictate what KYC requirements they have. So for example, if there's a marketplace, right? The marketplace could stipulate that if you are going to try and list an artwork here that is, say, in excess of $10,000, then you need to be at KYC level 3 or something like that. Or if you intend to list an artwork for $100,000, you need to be at level 5, because ultimately our protocol is all about trust, increasing the trust for collectors, increasing the trust for creators, increasing the trust for investors. And that trust comes when you have high dollar volume that is backed up with KYC. So you know exactly who is buying, who's selling, etc. And that's important. The second partner, which I'm very excited about, is my alma mater, is Western Michigan University. So what we're going to do is start including there and work toward having Vitruveo in academic curriculum. So that I think is really positive, because now we'll have comp sci students, etc., understand more about the protocol. And we're also going to initiate joint projects with art and computer science students. So I'll be going there and working with the sort of leads of those departments to initiate the program. Now, you might not think of this as important, but let me tell you something about Apple's strategy that led to where it is today. There used to be a time during the PC wars where Apple was, Mac was hardly anything. what was Apple's strategy? Apple went on every campus and created and had student reps there selling Macs to students at huge discounts. Why? Well, the technology that the students use in school, when they graduate, guess what they're looking for? They want to work with that same technology. So what we want to do is look at the future generation of artists and creators and developers. And what we want to do is get them using and comfortable with Vitruveo while they are in school, especially seniors, because they are the next year, they're going to be out in the real world, working, etc. So with this approach, what we want to create is a template for other universities around the world to start using, where Vitruveo becomes an important part of academic curriculum for first, for art majors, and second, for computer science majors also to develop interesting art applications on our platform. So I'm very excited about this, and you'll be hearing more about it. I'll probably have the lead that I'm working with come on in one of these downloads and talk more about it as we progress further. So really exciting news there. And now every one of these, I kind of review the booster sales just to keep it in top of mind, because we are getting to the point where it is going to be activated here in a very short amount of time. So our booster sales are around raising capital. They'll be available on mainnet RC1, which is going to happen within the month of October, assuming you all vote yes, because I'm counting on your vote yes. And I'm trying to do everything as transparently, openly, and as detailed as possible, so you can give that yes vote. Each of those boosters is going to have an amazing augmented reality artwork by a global artist, as you heard earlier today. And boosters will accelerate your vesting. Today, you also saw that we've added a huge benefit to boosters by adding 1 million additional perk tokens there. So if you get a booster, you're eligible for those, and that is a big benefit. The cost of a booster is going to be $150. It gives you 100 tokens, and you can stack those boosters up to 25 of them to increase your vesting to 2.5%. You can buy boosters and hold them and sell them later, because they're good for 18 months, to boost, and also they have a valuable piece of artwork that comes with it. Super boosters. So last time I had mentioned that there would be a Vitro related perk. This time I have updated it to say that it's going to be 1 million of those Vitro tokens that will be distributed pro rata to the super boosters. So what does that mean? Well, if you have 20 super booster buyers, depending on which ones they bought, etc., you divide it up, and that 1 million tokens get divided up. So that's a very good perk for super boosters, because they not only get the Vitru tokens that they're getting at a great price here, but in addition, they're also going to get the Vitro token, which will be listed separately and trading separately. So it's a benefit for those of you who are looking to invest in something that's going to hopefully be extremely valuable soon. All right, let's get to community questions, but I need a sip of chai first. But before we get to those, let me ask Chris and the others to come on board and come online here. I'm not on board. I'm always thinking about on board and see if you have any questions or comments about what we talked about first before I get into some of these questions.
Wow, there we go. I'm liking that. There's a ton of stuff there. I'm trying to reach out to a lot of the backers to find out what they thought about your presentation. I did get one question. We'll go over it in a little bit, but I haven't got much response back yet. But that was one that I thought that was pretty exciting about the presentation so far.
Great. So, all right. Well, if there are no questions from the panel here, I'll go ahead and answer the community questions. Let's just go right to those. All right. So what tools does Vitruveo provide to empower creators within the blockchain ecosystem? So instead of thinking of tools, I'd like to first start off by saying that foundationally, the whole protocol and everything around it is geared towards empowering creators. It starts off with the technology that we are building, and the asset consignment registry, and the ability for assets to be registered at the protocol level versus with a marketplace, which is what the current model is. Like, you can only register your artwork once with each marketplace presently, because that's how the minting model works. But with us, it's done at the protocol level. So the two primary tool sets you're going to receive are Vitruveo Studio. So Vitruveo Studio is where you actually do your work in order to get your asset sort of consigned. Also, it's where you would go through KYC, whatever level you want. It starts off with email. You can go onto mobile, and you can do more levels if you want. And then Vitruveo Hub. Vitruveo Hub is, Vitruveo Studio has one more feature that's important to artists. We are building your own HTML drag and drop profile page builder. So a very versatile profile page builder. Now, we know there's a lot of those available. If people want to use it, they can. We're going to try and make it really easy to use and provide lots of templates so that they are not just boring lists of links, because I've seen a lot of the profile pages and they are really not designed to be attractive from a marketing standpoint. So what we want to do with sort of our profile pages is to not only make them interesting and exciting to look at, but also make them so they're active. So artists can regularly go post updates and things like that. And it becomes sort of like a mini website, a microsite, if you will, for the artist, but without the pressure of having a blog or something like that, because I know that's very, very scary to people. But it's easy to go and say, hey, I just got my artwork in this new exhibition or something like that, so like a micro blogging site almost, if you will. So we'll do that. Vitruveo Hub is the sort of partner app to Vitruveo Studio. Vitruveo Hub is where you can best think of it as the ability to discover art. We talked about search earlier. So Vitruveo Hub is where you would do that. You would go, essentially, it's a search engine for all the artworks that are there. You can do faceted search. You can do discovery. We'll have outside curators come in and curate sections there where you'll be able to discover different artworks. In addition, we'll give every whoever wants to, really, but artists and curators primarily, the ability to spin off from Vitruveo Hub essentially a Shopify-like website. So you can take your expertise in whatever area it is, select artworks and make them available for sale and mark them up so you can make a profit. So you can create a mini store yourself, and thus, instead of an artist working to have their work discovered, other people do it for them. Why? To make money, because they make a profit when the artworks sell. So Vitruveo Hub is that. We'll have other programs and apps also, like, for example, the ability for you to augmented reality, AR enable your app, things like that. But what other activities can we expect from upcoming Vitruveo workshops? I think I'll let first, since she's here, field that question. Go for it.
Hi. Well, since we're focusing on creators, our workshops are basically to give information, so to empower creators. So we started with very basic workshops on what is blockchain and, smart contracts, things like that, because not all creators are knowledgeable in the tech side. So we're focusing the workshops on that. And as soon as we have Vitruveo Live going, with all of our apps, then we'll start onboarding them and doing workshops on that as well.
Great. Thanks for that. What token standards will be implemented on the Vitruveo blockchain? So we are an EVM chain. So obviously the most common one is the ERC20 standard. Pretty much every blockchain, when they implement that standard, they just change the first letter from E to whatever it is. So I guess it would be VRC, But in terms of the NFT standard, what we're going to do is we're looking at both 721 and 1155. The thing with 1155 is ERC 1155 is what I mean, is it doesn't allow a lot of flexibility for individual tokens. So we're going to morph that a little bit. So what our idea is to create a separate and unique token standard that includes references to key metadata fields, but to have it 100% be backward compatible. So any wallet that supports, for example, ERC 1155 or ERC 721 will work with our token standard. You just won't see all the information that's available to you. But anyone who implements a new wallet, which we will encourage developers and even provide grants for developers to do, can take advantage of the new information that's in there. For example, one thing you'll want to do is if your app or your wallet is capable of looking at your NFTs, you should be able to click on it and verify that the signature is valid, who the creator is, to be able to look at metadata, etc. So those are features that don't exist right now. And so, but that doesn't mean it won't work. So those are the primary ones. We probably look to implement others also. When can we anticipate the availability of an officially branded sacrifice funds checker within the Vitruveo platform? Never. We are past all that. We are past having an empty website where you can look at it. In the next few weeks, we are going on chain. So this is going to be on chain. You're going to start seeing it in dapps, in wallets, etc. The time to be looking at Web 2.0 apps with this could be my potential funds is gone. We are going to go live and on chain. All right. Those were the questions I have there. I guess I'll take live questions. And in the interest of time, etc., I just want to let Leslie and Dr. Martin, Sarah know you're welcome to hang around, but this could go on for a bit. So I want to be sensitive to your time. And if you like to stay, please do. But if you'd like to leave, then we thank you for your time. All right. So do we have any questions that we want to talk about?
Yeah. Do you want me to? Do you want to keep the presentation up?
Yeah, we can get rid of the presentation. That's fine.
All right. All right. First question that we have here is Nick. Please ask Nick about a more general target audience. I completely agree to be laser focused initially, but to get real volume, we also have to include the general masses in DeFi.
Yeah, I think the answer is in the question itself. Initially, being the key word there. Our go-to-market is one strategy, and then we'll branch out. But we got to establish success in the domain before we try and grow. But definitely, we'll be doing that.
And Nick, it has to fit, right? Like, you can't. You're targeting a certain creators, right?
Yep.
And just like with this question, you want to include all of DeFi, but I don't think all of DeFi can fit in here, right? Like, you have the type of people that are coming to look at art aren't necessarily here to look at all of what DeFi has. So it's like, if you have a project that incorporates like NFTs and stuff like that, I can see that working, right? Especially if you have the art, it's branded on the NFT, it works, right? Like my project, I feel like I can come here into this blockchain, and I'm not necessarily, walled off at any point in time. But if it's a project that has probably nothing to do with creation, I wouldn't say it's the best. I'm not gonna say don't be here, but your target audience may not be here as well.
Yeah. So let me give you the more nuanced answer now. I think I understand what they're talking about. Is they're talking about it from an investor standpoint, right? So I actually made a tweet about this. So throughout history, almost, art has always been sort of isolated. Only people who care about art participate in the art ecosystem, and the reason is people with capital don't fund art projects is because the incentives are not aligned. With Vitruveo, we are aligning those incentives of investors who may not care about art at all, but care deeply about money, with artists. So we have now have a protocol and the ability for an investor who cares nothing about art to put their money in and get a healthy return. And that's what I talk about when I say incentives aligned. So those are the kinds of people who would still be interested in working, acquiring the Vitru token, acquiring boosters, etc. So because what has been missing from art ecosystem, and which is why it's only generally been sort of grants, etc., from foundations, is a clear pathway to capitalistic money making. And we are providing that now. We are providing that with a token and with the infrastructure we are setting up and the model for e-commerce to occur at scale. We are not doing this for 1 or 2 or 10 artists. We want to do this for millions, right? So with that, and we're just starting with visual artists. You add music, you add film, you add writers, and now the scope expands significantly. So it's a fairly big vision, and I feel like there's a certain type of crypto investors who look at this and go like, who they know NFTs, they've purchased them, they know what the problems are, because as collectors they face, as investors and collectors, they face those problems. So they can see what we are doing in really streamlining things and making it super easy for people to come on board. In one of these downloads, I'll demonstrate for you our custodial wallet, and you'll find it very interesting because it makes it so easy to use. Like really a 5th grader could use it and be on crypto in like seconds, and that's what we are trying to get at, is make everything really, really simple and easy to use. So yeah, we don't want to target. You are correct about that, Fowler, but we do want to attract, because the capital has to come from somewhere.
Awesome. Next question we have is, we still have the general benefits of the first rebasing blockchain that could be appealing to all passive investors.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very important thing. And one of the challenges previously was when you make inflated claims about rebasing, it is a turnoff to a serious person who knows math, basic math.
Yes.
Look at like, this is unsustainable. How the heck are you going to do it? Yeah. But what with the dampeners, etc., we put, with the performance-based controls we put, it's actually reasonable for a reasonable person to do the math and say, okay, this only happens, compound interest happens when there's performance. So now it's no longer in the realm of fiction.
Yeah, I agree. I have a question before we get into a couple of the other questions. The presentation that you gave for the backers, is that something is that a an initial proposal? Is that something that you're willing to have a discussion and negotiate here and there, or is that?
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I didn't have a chance to get to the Discord on there, but I heard everybody, and I think one of the biggest things that people are proposing is not going to work, which is convert all these light nodes into validators. It will be around 40 validators. And the reason it's not going to work is no one is talking about putting up the capital to run those nodes. They are expecting the capital to come from income, but initially there's not going to be income to cover that. I mean, that's the risk validators are taking on right now. They're paying out of pocket every month to have that, but no one in their proposal is addressing that. And so that aspect is a non-starter unless people, and who's going to run those? They are saying the protocol should run those. Well, that means money out of the protocol's, the DAO's treasury, which we don't have. We don't have those funds to pay for it. So unless the backers as a unit can come up with the capital to run those 40 nodes, converting to validators is a non-starter. It would be a great idea if that one problem was addressed. That's 40 multiplied by, let's say, $200. That's $8,000 a month. That has to be generated from somewhere.
Now, is there in the backers? I don't have access to it, and I know a few of them. But is there anyone, an individual that's talking in there?
There's a few, but really, I feel like with the proposal I've given here, I've given them pretty much everything they wanted. There's it's a quid pro quo almost. Like I can see in the comments also, people are saying, I don't want to pay more. Well, 0.5% of revenue for the life of this protocol is a huge amount of money. That cannot be a giveaway. It just cannot, not for $245 each. So there's got to be an initial sort of quid pro quo on that one.
Yeah, I'll get to some more of the comments on there. But Eric says, are we having a channel room for creators?
Yeah, we'll be doing that when we are ready. Right now, we are focused on making sure our Discord is stable and welcoming to creators. So we are getting through that very, very expediently. And once we feel comfortable that the Discord is welcoming to creators, we'll bring them on, because you've seen the creators here. They are gentle creatures. They don't want to be here with the crypto crowd, and so we want to be very welcoming to you.
Let's see here. And the next question that we have is from Biz. This is actually a question from T Kiwi. Says, is Vitruveo accepting tokens like a normal blockchain? And if so, is there any benefits? Will the Kiwi LP be rewarded with the rebases?
I think what this question means is, can we create our own token on Vitruveo blockchain? And the answer is yes. A token is just as ERC20 smart contract. So everyone is free to come and do that if they want, and create whatever model they want for their token. In terms of the rebases are for the native cryptocurrency only. So if you want to create a rebasing token, that would be in your smart contract. You would probably fork some other smart contract and do that. But rebasing would not apply to smart contracts. It is at the protocol level. But you're welcome, and we welcome everyone to bring their tokens and create them on there. We will have our DEX, which is a pancake swap fork, and you can even have them listed there.
Next question that we have is, what are custom blocks? Can you give a specific answer and what they do that differs from traditional blocks, please?
I feel like this person has never heard an answer of mine. My answers are, if nothing else, extremely specific. So they are anything but vague. So I find it a little humorous. But it's not custom blocks so much as custom block properties. So in this protocol, we have augmented the block attributes to have properties that indicate what is the rebase value for that block, what is the aggregate number of transactions up to that block within that epoch, what epoch number that block is for as measured by the number of epochs transpired for the blockchain, and also what is the rebase epoch, which could be different because there will be certain epochs where rebasing does not occur. And finally, it will also have the current supply. So those are the attributes, properties that we've added to the block that are different and unique from other blocks. So hopefully that was specific enough of an answer.
All right. Next one we have. So Nick, are you showing us these artists because their NFTs will be on the boosters? How much percentage fees do they collect when we purchase?
Well, some of these artists may be on boosters. I don't know. I haven't seen the list yet from Fur, but none of the artists whose work is on boosters are getting paid. They are doing it because they get to promote their art. Fur, did I answer that correctly?
Sort of. Like I'm giving them some benefits. So they are very aware that the booster tokens are to get money for the protocol, and I'm paying them with some other benefits. So yes, the money is for the protocol, and everyone's aware of that. So yes.
Oh, you mean like side benefits, like an exhibition listing or something?
Yes.
Yeah, I understood this to ask. The question was about monetary fees, and so I answered about that. Yeah.
For some reason, someone's having an issue with being able to comment, and I don't know why they are. Okay, we're good with that one. Eric says, what happened if we have multiple backers from multiple wallets? Can one booster backer cover all your wallet addresses?
Now you gotta have a backer for each of your. I mean, each of the ones where you want it's a benefit, right? You got to claim the benefits. It's a one for one.
Yeah. Next question is probably a dumb question, Kelly says, but what platform can the boosters be purchased on? It will be on our own chain, correct?
It's not a dumb question. It's actually a very smart question.
Yes, it is, and it's come up repeatedly, Kelly. So you thought it was dumb, but everybody else is asking it.
Yeah. All right. So basically, one of the reasons why we are waiting to do the boosters is we want it on our own chain. So the boosters NFTs will be minted on Vitruveo, but how do we pay for it when we don't have a DEX or a bridge or any way to bring capital in? So essentially, the page where you are going to mint, you would be paying in a stable coin. So we will support USDC and USDT on Ethereum, and BUSD and USDT on Binance Smart Chain. So those are the cryptocurrencies we'll support. So you will essentially come to a page, you will pay in one of those, and the wallet address that you use would be the same wallet address that we would immediately deposit on Vitruveo chain your booster NFT. So you would just switch networks and you would see your booster there within by the end of the transaction.
All right. Next question that we have is, how about the backers' proposal to pull together to become a validator? Can it be considered? I think you talked about that, and that was about how the nodes would be.
Yeah, someone needs to pay for the monthly expense for that, and as long as someone can pay for that, and also really it's more than that, right? Someone's got to support them. It requires DevOps to run that many nodes. So who's going to pay for someone's salary for that also? So there's a cost associated with it, which, as far as I know, I don't think the backers as a team, first of all, I don't know that we can unite everybody, 1,500. Secondly, I don't know that the amount of capital that would need anyone would be willing to pay for. So I think that's the reason it's a non-starter, not because I'm not interested in that idea. I just think it's not feasible.
All right. The next question that we have is, and I hope I didn't unstar the wrong one. Nick, the backers plan is 39 backers to one full node, then variable percentage sharing with the DAO, 30%, and 39 poolers, 70%. Can you review the proposal that we have in the backer channel?
I have reviewed it, but see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It starts up with how the income is going to be shared, but no one's talking about the expense. So a good plan has to have both covered, expense and income. So show me the money.
Yes. Show me the money. I think I'm getting other ones here. So the next one here is there any news on new projects onboarding, please?
Yeah. So one step at a time. We cannot boil the ocean. We have to get through some of these steps. There's a lot going on. We'll get to mainnet RC1. We'll start getting some of these projects going so people can see a thriving ecosystem and something that works, where if they have a project, they're like, when can I get on? Well, maybe later. No, now, today, right now. That's what we want. And so we will do that call for projects. And in fact, plan on manually, what I mean by is talking one-on-one with founders, etc., and getting them to come on. That's how it starts. It doesn't start with a general call, it starts with relationships and building upon your relationships to get them on here. So we'll do that, but it'll be post RC1, probably closer to RC2.
All right. Next question is boosters, and I think that super boosters, right, would be sold on-chain Vitruveo. So do we need a bridge to be able to buy with other cryptos?
Yes, you would need it, but we can't do that. It would be impossible for us to get that going here shortly. So as I just described, essentially it's going to be you pay, we capture the funds on Ethereum or BSC, and then our server side looks for the event, and based upon that, it triggers an NFT creation on Vitruveo.
Next question that we have here is, Nick, can you review proposal and talk with the backers before deciding?
Yeah, we still have time. Like the vote doesn't happen until, I forget the exact dates I put up there, but yeah, we have time. But let's do it expediently. What I loved about the communication with the validators is that, and granted there was less, but still, 500 is a lot, that they picked a leader. They came up with a program. We hopped on a Zoom call. We hashed out things, and now we've got a path forward. I'd love to do the same thing with backers. So pick a lead or leads.
I'm just going to tell you that just me personally in the community and where I'm at, I'm probably missing people, but I do know that Shadow X and Eris Disla are very educated on the backers and stuff. And Insight Crafter, I'm not sure who this person, I've seen them before, but that those people are the people that I would, as for community, I'm not a backer or anything like that, but I would want their voice to be heard in some kind of way. So I don't know who's going with everything in the backer, chat, because I'm not in there, but I would hope that they would have some type of input on the conversation.
Yeah, I'd welcome that. Let's hop on a Zoom and hash this out, because I don't think Discord is conducive to back and forth negotiations. At least, for this kind of thing, it takes too long.
Now, and I would hate to miss somebody on a backer, and I know as soon as I'm off here, I'll go back and be like, oh my goodness, I forgot you're a backer. but if I missed you, I apologize. I'm sorry. Let's see. I think a lot of comments here. Let me try to find. Okay, so here's one. Nick, when you mention huge for backers, 0.5%. What's the price of base those consignment fees will be?
Yeah, I think there's a misconception that this is based upon the registration fee. This is no longer the case. We moved away from that. It's 0.5% of the sales. So that volume is whatever volume could be. I mean, this is why I said it's a very huge incentive. And if people don't see that value, I don't know how, we are not creating a protocol to do, I don't know, $1 million in sales per year. We are doing it to do, look at OpenSea's sales for the past year. How much were they? Or look at Foundation. Those are individual marketplaces. Add them all up. If we can do anywhere close to that means we are in the $100 million plus range, if not more, in sales. And a percentage of that is a very large amount. And so I think I have put a very sweet deal there. I listened to what people wanted, but it's, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, and if you guys want to reach out to me, I'll do whatever I can to facilitate any kind of a meeting with the backers. I don't know who's in charge over there or who's speaking for the community, but if you need my help, let me know. I think there's a lot of people in the backer community just want to maybe some clarification and maybe some suggestions and stuff.
Yeah, I think people wanted an AMA. Let's do it. I'm but I can't do an AMA negotiation. That doesn't work very well.
Yeah, let's do it
do a
behind the scenes, talk about
it, negotiate, and then come back with an AMA and answer everyone's questions. Let's get it done.
Yeah. And then let's see. I'm on this one. I'm going to go to this one. All right. So today we quickly saw a new token allocation distribution. Does that change the rebase and incentive coin spreadsheet previously presented by Nick?
Yes, these are new things. We will go back and update those. Like I said, we just got the final numbers, researched them, clarified them. So now we have to go back And but honestly, it shouldn't change that much now that I think about it, because the rebasing transaction volume, etc., has not changed. And I believe in the spreadsheet I'm thinking about, you put in your coin amount and it calculates it for you. So I think it should be mostly accurate, but I don't want to say that here until I verify it. So let's just assume that it may need some change. I'll verify that, and if there's any changes needed, we'll modify it, and then there'll be an announcement on Discord that it's been modified.
Okay. Trying to get through any more of these questions. So that's that one. Sorry if I missed previously. Can you briefly expand on the asset consignment licensing distribution specifically for DAOs?
Let's see. I think what they're asking about is how the asset consignment sort of model works, maybe. So let's take a very simple workflow. So let's say that Fur here has an artwork, and she's a creator on the protocol. She's gone through the KYC process and is now eligible to list an artwork. So she uploads her artwork to Vitruveo Studio, and it's gonna actually ask her a bunch of questions, like a form, but a step-through form where she fills out a title, description, things like that. And when that part is done, it will ask her to digitally sign that artwork. And then next, she has a choice of creating licenses. So she must create at least one license, because there's no point in listing the artwork, even if the license is for zero. If you're just doing it for yourself, you still have to have a license. So that license basically says, for this type of sale of this artwork, the charge would be X, and so on and so forth. So once that is there, any application on our protocol, whether it's a marketplace or someone creates a landing page or whatever, can now consume that artwork and make it available for sale. So for example, let's say that Fur has listed her artwork for 100 Vitruvs. You might choose to list it for sale at 120 Vitruvs. So when that happens, you basically 1% of that goes to the protocol. The extra $20 Vitruvs that it's 120, 1% of that, whatever is. So you have to pay for her 100, and then the balance goes to you. So that's basically how the consignment model works. Now, one caveat there, Fur might have specified in her royalty model for the licensing that if the markup exceeds some threshold, say 20%, then she's eligible for a share of the markup beyond the 20%. So maybe you are awesome at selling artworks and you marked it up 300%. Well, you can, the 280%, Fur might have said, well, I need to get like 5% of that or something like that. So you share the wealth essentially with the artist, because that is a problem right now with galleries. Galleries mark up artworks like huge amounts, and the artist doesn't see any of that. And we want to change that a little bit. So that's the explanation of the licensing model.
All right, I got a few more here, and a couple of them are real short ones. But in the Genesis allocations, 3810.26 is locked for validators, but we paid only 1,050 for the node, so only this should be locked.
Okay, let me just make a note of that. I did not do the research, but I will ask the persons that did the research to come up to validate that, and if that's the case, we'll update that. So this is what I was saying, right? Like we presented this data. It could be wrong, so we'd love to have it fixed, and we'll get that fixed.
Yeah, well, we got to get it on it. Make sure everybody's got. Like I said, I'm all for it. Everybody needs to get their voices heard, man.
Yep.
So when the incentives details for Dex Vitro, am I missing part of that?
No, it's just asking what is the incentive plan for that.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. I haven't thought about that honestly right now, because this is more like an RC2 kind of thing right now, and my head is right now in RC1. So give us some time, and we'll think about that.
All right. When the faucet for testnet?
Last I heard, which was 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago, it's being tested. So I would say in the next few days. So we're gonna roll out the new testnet version this weekend, and what I will commit to is there'll be another release of the testnet with some of these token numbers now correctly deployed in contracts and all that. So that will happen later this week. So I suspect we can enable the faucet at that point. It might be there sooner also, but it will be reset again. So I would say faucet, you should expect sometime this week, in the middle of this week.
All right, Nick, the following is from the Vitruveo cap table, 1,832,735 Vitruveo used for node purchases locked indefinitely. Can you explain this?
Yep. So that's the 3810 multiplied by 500, which might be wrong now that I'm told about the 1050 amount. So that's the 3810 multiplied by 500. So those are essentially locked, right? Those are you paid for to have the privilege of being a validator, and that's what those tokens are. So those would always be locked. The rebase on those are available to you, though.
Okay. And then last one's a comment. Cornish Crypto would say, I would like to welcome the artists and would like to thank them for having the vision to see this project succeed. Yay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Martine. All right. Well, I don't have I think there's quite a few people that would, and the backers that would like to get together and maybe hash out a few things. But I don't have any other comments or anything like that.
Yeah, just give me a time, either Saturday or Sunday morning, PST. Hop on a Zoom and we can discuss this. And like I said, I feel like I took all your comments into consideration and presented what I feel, if I was a backer, is a very, very sweet deal. Mm-hmm. And but you might think otherwise. But happy to listen and see what modifications can be created. And I will, it's 1050 locked in the node. Okay, cool. I will. I need to figure out where that 3810 came from. Then I'm just presenting the numbers I was given, so I will go and research that and amend that worksheet. So right away, expect a change in that worksheet.
All right.
Yeah, some people are saying they don't like backer proposal. I need to understand what they don't like. It's pretty straightforward. Pay $150 and you opt into 0.5% of revenue. Like, wow. I'm like,
well, I think that I think that it's kind of hard to have the communication from the chats, and mm-hmm. from what, and I think that if they have like a meeting and everything like that, and legitimate people that really do represent the backers and everything like that, they'll be able to have their say and then either understand better or there'll be I'm obviously you're open for change that would be beneficial for both sides, right? Not something that would hurt either one of them, but
yeah, absolutely. If someone presents a model to me and shows me like, yeah, this is why we want it or whatever, I'm happy to look at it. But I have to balance, the new world, the new change right. scenario here where there is no service being provided. However, there's a benefit being provided, right? So that's what I have to deal with.
All right. Well, I mean, do you have anything else that you want to go over through the questions? We got comments, and like I said, guys, if you want me to help out and facilitate any kind of a meetup with Nick, either Saturday morning or Sunday morning, let me know. And if not, if you have somebody in there that can reach out to Nick to get you guys a voice to kind of hammer through some of this stuff, let me know. Nothing else, Nick? You guys all good?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for being here. I'm liking these weekly things because it allows me to really present everything in a manner that is digestible by people who don't have the time to be on Discord and all that all the time. They can just, even fast forward this at double speed or whatever and get through all this information. And yeah, I have not been too present on Discord just because we are at crunch time. There's just so much work to be done. That doesn't mean I'm not paying attention. I'm paying a lot more attention. I'm getting information from the team. I'm relying on the team to tell me things, but I do jump in there as and when I can. But yeah, my goal is to make this blockchain mainnet RC1 happen as quickly as possible. And that's what I'm focused on. So thanks everyone, and let's kick ass.
Take care, everybody.